Have you ever wondered if walls could talk? What secrets they might spill? What eerie tales they might unravel? Well, tonight, prepare yourself, because we journey into a story where the walls don't merely talk, they whisper. This is the story of the Whispering Walls. In a quiet, forgotten neighborhood, there stood an old Victorian house. Long abandoned, it garnered whispers among locals. Children dared each other to approach it, their dares often dissolving in nervous laughter. But it wasn't laughter that filled the house. It was something much darker. Meet Emma, an ambitious history student. Emma prided herself on her ability to separate myth from fact. When she heard of the old house and its mysterious reputation, she saw it not as a haunted abode, but as a place of untapped history waiting for her to uncover it. With a university research project looming, she thought this house would be her golden ticket. The house was rumored to have belonged to a reclusive architect, Mr. Alastair Hensley, who disappeared a century ago without a trace. The whispers claimed that anyone who stepped into the house would hear voices calling out their darkest fears or deepest regrets. But Emma brushed it all off as superstition. With camera, flashlight, and notebooks in hand, she fearlessly crossed the threshold one foggy afternoon. It didn't take long for the whispers to begin. The moment Emma set foot in what had once been the grand ballroom, an inexplicable chill settled over her. As she examined the faded murals on the peeling walls, she caught it. A faint sound, like the rustling of leaves. At first, she dismissed it as the wind, but then the sound formed into words, low and barely audible, as though the walls themselves were breathing around her. Emma. She froze. The whisper, if she wasn't imagining it, seemed to come from the cracked ornate molding above the fireplace. Taking a deep breath, she convinced herself it had to be her mind playing tricks. Shaking off her unease, she pressed on. Yet the whispers grew louder. They called her name repeatedly, beckoning, pleading, and at times, weeping. Terrified but determined, Emma set up her camera, recording every inch of the house. She uncovered odd marks in the walls, symbols carved roughly into the wood. They looked ancient, almost ritualistic. In the study room, she flipped through a dust-covered journal she'd found in a desk drawer. She soon realized it had been written by Alastair Hensley himself. Page after page revealed his descent into madness, his paranoia that the very walls he designed were consuming him. The entries became erratic. They know my secrets. They whisper when I close my eyes. Another entry read, each wall, a mouth to the void. They watch me, waiting. As Emma pieced together the puzzle, the whispers escalated into voices, multiple voices. They sounded anguished, as if they were trapped within the very structure of the house. Suddenly, the ground beneath her trembled, and the room darkened unnaturally. Her flashlight flickered as shadows danced across the walls, forming human-like shapes that lunged and retreated, all within the confines of the decaying plaster. One voice, louder than the others, broke through the chaos. The house. It keeps us in. Run while you can. Emma stumbled back, clutching her flashlight. She tried to sprint for the door, but the layout of the house seemed to shift. Hallways stretched infinitely, doors led to nowhere, and every turn brought her right back to the ballroom. Panic turned to dread as she realized she was now part of the house's design. The symbols she had seen before glowed faintly now, pulsating like a heartbeat. The whispers transformed into shrieks, revealing memories she didn't even know she had buried. Every mistake, every regret she had ever harbored now screamed at her, relentless and unforgiving. With a surge of courage, Emma shouted, "I don't belong here. Release me! For a fleeting second, silence followed. Then, a door appeared. A door she hadn't seen before, illuminated by what looked like moonlight. Without thinking twice, she dashed for it and burst through into the open air. Emma turned back to look at the house. It stood silent once again, as though nothing had happened. But as she listened closely, she could hear faint whispers still following her, warning her not to return. Emma's footage, when reviewed, was nothing but static. The journal she had brought out disintegrated into dust the moment she touched it outside the house. Even now, she questions if the events were real, but she can't erase the feeling that a part of her never left, the whispering walls. So, what do you believe? Was it a haunted house or just the imagination of someone too eager for an adventure? Maybe next time, think twice before listening to the whispers in the dark.